Welcome to your deep dive. We are diving into the latest happenings in the world of water parks, riding a wave of news about new parks, innovative designs, tech upgrades, and even some closures.
You're right. It's a real mixed bag of stories we've got, but taken together, they tell us a lot about what's going on beyond just, water slides and lazy rivers. We're going to uncover the business, the need for sustainability, and even how these parks impact the communities.
Seeing these new water parks pop up everywhere, from Qatar and Scandinavia to Australia and Texas. Is this a global water park boom? Or just.
It's a trend for sure. It makes sense, though, when you think about it. Rising incomes in a lot of these places. People have more money for leisure and they want experiences.
Experiences over just buying more stuff, right? Okay, so what about places like the UK then? Not exactly known for that, sunny weather.
And that is where these indoor water parks come in. They offer year-round escape regardless of the weather.
That's smart. So one project really jumped out at me, like Quebradora Waterpark in Mexico City. This isn't just a water park. It's like a model for sustainable tourism. They're winning awards for how they're tackling water scarcity.
Totally. And they're not shying away from tough solutions. Instead of being afraid to use treated wastewater, they've made it central to their design.
I'll admit, when I read treated wastewater in a water park, I was a bit taken aback. But that makes so much sense. What were the challenges in getting something like that going?
Public perception is a huge factor. It can be a tough sell, even when it's completely safe. Like Quebradora had to be super transparent, educate people, even give tours focused on their water system.
Wow, that's really going the extra mile. It shows how much effort goes into changing people's minds about something as basic as water.
So do you think this eco-conscious design, is that becoming the expectation now for new water parks?
It's definitely a step in the right direction, and the buzz around La Quebradora proves it. The whole tourism industry is shifting towards sustainable practices. Water parks can't ignore that. And speaking of not ignoring trends, what about this tech wave we're seeing? It's changing how these parks operate and what visitors expect. They're creating these immersive experiences that, blur the lines between fantasy and reality.
Absolutely. And Moment Factory is a great example. They're behind projects like the WORLD Waterpark in Dubai, where they really push multimedia to create that immersion.
So it's not about bigger slides anymore. It's about the experience. What makes Moment Factory different in their approach?
They're masters at integrating the technology seamlessly. Instead of just watching a screen, you're enveloped in a 360-degree sensory experience. Think projections, interactive elements that respond to you, even special effects mimicking weather.
That is wild, creating a whole other world within the park. What other tech could we see integrated in the future?
Oh, the possibilities are endless. Imagine augmented reality, personalized experiences from wearables, even, AI characters you can interact with.
Well, that is incredibly cool. It makes you think about that balance between innovation and that classic carefree fun of a water park.
Precisely. It's a fine line that these parks will have to walk.
So for all these openings, we've also seen some closures. Bathurst Aqua Park, for instance, shut down over water quality. That's got to be tough on the community.
Absolutely. It highlights just how critical safety and maintenance are. Water parks are complex, and if you neglect those aspects, there are serious consequences.
Behind all the fun, there's a lot of responsibility. Speaking of responsibility, the closure, even temporarily, of the PIC water park in Saipan, it makes you think about the whole balance between tourism dollars and the environmental impact, right?
Exactly. These closures are devastating for places that rely on tourism. It forces you to ask, what happens when that revenue's gone? How do communities adapt?
It really underscores that sustainability is about more than the environment. It's about ensuring those communities are healthy and resilient in the long term.
And part of adapting is finding new ways to bring in those visitors, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, there were a bunch of articles on those big names. Sunsplash Waterpark, Great Wolf Lodge, all announcing expansions.
It's true. There's a lot of excitement, especially at Great Wolf Lodge. They really go all out with the theming. Oh, man, going there as a kid, I was transported to this, cozy log cabin world.
And nostalgia's powerful and smart business. It's not just water parks, it's memories, keeps families coming back. But also those expansions, that signals a healthy market, right? They're investing because they're confident.
And it's not just getting bigger. Some articles mentioned, really engaging the community.
Yeah.
Sunsplash Family Water Park is doing this Paradise Cove thing, and they're asking locals for their input on the design.
Now that is encouraging. Shows they're realizing, hey, we're not just plonked down here, we're part of a larger thing. That community engagement, it makes for smarter development. Everyone's needs are considered.
Everybody wins. The park gets good ideas. The community feels heard. And speaking of feeling invested, that Cook Park upgrade in Australia really struck me. It's not just the water park, it's the whole area.
Yeah.
And they've made community involvement huge.
Exactly. Town halls, surveys, even online platforms for ideas. That transparency builds trust, makes sure everyone benefits.
Makes you wonder, though, are there downsides to all this expansion? Could we be heading for, like, a water park bubble?
It's a valid question. Oversaturation is a risk. Everyone rushes in, builds the biggest, well, that increases competition. Could make it tough for some to stay afloat.
And what about the impact on those smaller parks, the locally owned ones?
Hmm.
Could they get squeezed out by these big players?
It's a real concern. Those smaller parks will have to find their niche, offer something unique, personalize that experience, or really play up the local connection. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's like any industry.
Right.
Adapt or die. Speaking of adapting, one thing that caught my eye was how water parks are tapping into pop culture.
Oh, absolutely. Smart marketing, especially for the younger crowd. We saw that Era's Splash Bash at Island H2O in Florida.
So good. Instant connection with the target audience makes it more enticing, shareable.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love a good themed party, right?
Exactly. Adds that extra layer of fun. And it's not just pop culture. We're seeing themes based on movies, video games, even historical periods.
Makes you wonder, what kind of immersive experiences will we see in the future? Could we one day be plunging down a replica of the Death Star Trench or racing through a Super Mario obstacle course?
Now, those are experiences that would make a splash. But speaking of immersive, we can't forget about social media. It's huge for water parks.
For sure. It's not just about being there, it's about getting that perfect picture. And let's be real, water parks are already made for that.
Right.
With all the bright colors, the architecture, the pure joy on people's faces.
They're practically marketing themselves. And they're getting savvy about it. Dedicated photo spots, even incorporating features specifically designed for those viral TikTok moments.
It's smart. Free advertising, right. Reaches a global audience. But it's also more than that. It reflects something deeper, don't you think? This whole shift toward experiences.
Absolutely. In this digital world, we crave those tangible, shareable moments, making memories, not just consuming content. And water parks, they're inherently social.
It's about disconnecting from the digital and reconnecting with people, having fun, being carefree.
Precisely. And that brings us to another important piece of inclusivity. More and more parks are making sure their facilities work for everyone.
Oh, for sure. Things like zero-depth entry pools, those are great. And it's not just about the physical space. It's about an environment where everyone feels welcome.
Exactly. Everyone deserves to experience that joy, regardless of any, physical abilities or limitations they might have.
And celebrating that diversity makes it better for everyone. It's not just adapting what's there. It's about designing new parks with that in mind from the start.
100%. Universal design, that's what it's called. Accessibility baked right in. It's not an afterthought, it's essential.
It reflects where we're at, right?
Yeah.
Recognizing and celebrating all kinds of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I love how some water parks are going beyond just entertainment. They're incorporating education, too.
Totally. Fun and learning, perfect combo, especially for kids. We've got interactive exhibits on marine life, conservation, shows about water safety.
It's subtle, but it plants that seed, encouraging them to care for the planet. And it's not just the environment. We're seeing STEM education, too, right?
You got it. Explaining how the rides work, the physics behind those wave pools, how they keep the water clean, turning the whole park into a giant science lesson.
So cool. And speaking of cool, what about those new and innovative water features?
Oh, there's some wild ones. Surf simulators for those wannabe wave riders. Lazy rivers turn whitewater rapids courses.
Don't forget those classic attractions making a comeback, diving boards and high dives.
Yeah.
But with modern twist, multiple levels, underwater cameras to catch those epic jumps.
The industry is always evolving, which keeps things exciting.
The only constant is change, right? And speaking of change, we got to talk about climate change. Water scarcity is a real issue. How's the water park industry responding?
It's a crucial question. Water parks do use a lot of water, but many are making big efforts to lessen their impact.
We talked about La Quebradora and the treated wastewater. What else are we seeing?
Water conservation is huge. Low flow everything, drought-tolerant landscaping, collecting rainwater. It all adds up.
And it's not just about using less, it's about reusing what they have. We're seeing parks investing in high-tech systems to treat and reuse that water, cutting down on overall usage.
Some are going even further, looking at desalination, partnering with communities on water conservation. It benefits everyone.
It's encouraging. But in the end, each park has to take responsibility for its own impact and take action.
Definitely. And it's not just the right thing to do, it's good business. As people become more eco-conscious, they're looking for businesses that align with their values.
And that includes water parks. It's a win-win. Reduce that environmental impact, attract those eco-conscious customers, and build a more sustainable future.
Exactly. It shows that sustainability isn't about sacrifice. It's about being creative and finding solutions that work for everyone.
And knowing this industry, they're always innovating. I'm sure we'll see even more creative and impactful sustainability initiatives.
Yeah.
But for now, let's shift gears a bit. What about water parks giving back to the community?
Now, those are some feel-good stories. What do you have for us?
Well, there are a couple that highlight the compassionate side of this industry. We have Crown Reef Beach Resort and Water Park in Myrtle Beach. They're lighting up in pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Love that. Using their platform for a great cause. What's the other one?
Similar idea, Jpark Island Resort and Waterpark Cebu in the Philippines. For their 15th anniversary, they kicked off the holiday season by giving back, including an outreach program with an orphanage.
It really is heartwarming. They're not just about the fun. They're making a real difference.
It's more than just splashing around, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, something else that stood out was how water parks are becoming part of these bigger entertainment and leisure complexes.
Yeah.
It's like at Townsville Water Park in Australia. They're adding a hotel and a beach club. And then there's Therme Manchester in the UK, this whole well-being resort in Water Park.
It's smart. People want that full package, you know? Thrills, relaxation, entertainment, even wellness, all in one spot.
It's like a mini vacation within a vacation.
Yeah.
No more choosing between chilling at the spa and hitting the water slides. You can have it all.
And for the businesses, that's huge. Wider appeal, attracts families, couples, everyone really.
Exactly. Those multi-generational families trying to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the new places. Even the big established parks, we saw articles about them renovating, upgrading.
Gotta stay competitive, right?
Great.
The water park scene is fierce. They have to keep things fresh, exciting.
Evolve or die, as they say. But it's not always about the biggest, craziest new thing. Sometimes it's the small stuff.
100%. Upgrading the changing rooms, better food, even just making lines faster.
Yeah, those little details make all the difference. Shows they care. But with all this talk about the fun stuff, what about safety? Especially with these new technologies, those crazy rides.
Of course. Safety is paramount, and the industry knows it. We're seeing lots of investment in new safety tech and procedures.
One article mentioned this company, LifeRing. They've got that new rescue buoy designed just for water parks.
Right, and it's the first one to get approval from the Coast Guard. Shows how seriously they're taking it.
So it's about more than just having the latest and greatest. It's about making sure it's safe for everyone. And that goes for accessibility, too.
Absolutely. Can't forget inclusivity, and we are seeing some really positive steps there.
Like those zero-depth entry pools. We saw a lot about those. Great for kids, older folks, anyone who might have trouble with steps. How do those even work?
Basically, it's a gradual slope into the water, like a beach. No more stairs or ladders. Everyone can get in easily. Plus, it's safer for little ones, that slow transition to deeper water.
It's just good design. Makes it enjoyable for everyone. And speaking of thoughtful design, those sensory water parks, I am here for it.
Right. Becoming more and more popular, especially for families with kids who have autism or sensory processing issues.
Makes sense. Instead of it all being overwhelming, these spaces have calming features, gentle sounds, maybe even some quiet areas to take a break.
Exactly. It's about creating an environment where everyone can enjoy themselves no matter what.
It's really great to see. So I think after looking at all of this, it's safe to say water parks are more than just slides and splash zones.
100%. They reflect what's going on in the world, you know, the sustainability focus, the tech, making sure it works for everyone, and that desire for unique experiences.
It's fascinating to see how it's all playing out. And it definitely makes you wonder what the future holds for water parks, right? What other innovations are out there?
That's the exciting part. But for now, I think it's safe to say the future is looking pretty bright. Lots of creativity and potential.
I love it. Well, thanks for diving into all of this with me. Until next time, everyone, stay curious.